What is going on in the world, Lubie? I mean, and good morning, people. It's good to have you guys with us. Destined to go to the racetrack later on today. And Mayo's good. I mean, he keeps bringing those Friday and Saturday forums. Although, one thing I find, and I love Tony Segreto, but he always ends up taking like the Saturday racing form.
Oh, does he? Does he even bet? Why does he need the Saturday one? Is he betting on Saturday?
I don't know. I mean, is that just a byproduct of being in the media forever, where whatever they're giving away, you're taking one? Like, even though you have like zero use for it.
What do you mean?
Is he watching FanDuel? I don't think so. That's not Tony's bag.
I have no interest at all in even watching any of it, and I almost grab it every week.
Yeah. It's insane, isn't it? Right? You wouldn't know how to read it anyway, right? I mean, look, it's no shame if you have never looked at a racing form. You look at it, it's like, what the fuck is this? That's probably the worst move that you can make in any kind of relationship. You got to teach your girlfriend to read the racing form. Not that she's incapable. Now, here's the thing. If she already knows everything about the form and she's pointing out things to you on the first date,
that's great.
How do you feel about that woman?
Yeah, it's amazing.
But is she ever going to buy your bullshit when she's already surpassed you in terms of her degenerate levels, which would be the ultimate test? Because I like that when, you're with somebody. Now, this is only in my fantasies, Libby. Where you're with a woman at the track and she says, can you believe this, Christoph? Come on, man.
Oh, yeah.
This is the second time he's put blinkers on this horse, and guess what happened both times? Finished last. Then he has the barn send in a bunch of money, so the horse is 4 to 5 every flash, and you know what happens with 4 to 5 favorites. People believe in them.
The time.
Wake up with Defo, joined by Lubie. Welcome to the Defo Show.
All right, very special. Good morning, everybody. Great to be with you here. The Defo Show. Jeff DeForest, one Mike Lubie Lubitz. We will not be doing the trivia challenge today. Dave Gurgles Gurgly. Actually, it worked out. We had dueling conflicts.
Yes.
And somehow in the juxtaposition of what was taking place in terms of the scheduling of these shows, which we normally feature the great Tony Segreto every Wednesday. And he comes on about 8:30 and shoots the breeze with us till 9 o'clock at Texas Roadhouse, proud sponsor. Ed Garcia joins us. He's become a viable football correspondent, has he not? I mean, the guy really gets into his college football.
Yeah, I mean, he's the guy that was always I always wanted to become a booster, and eventually I'll actually at least do some.
You think you're going to be giving money to Florida State? No, that's a mistake.
Now with the battles end and all this, and I also
there's plenty of money coming from this lottery. Believe me, I mean, people are losing their ass every week chasing this ridiculous dream, which I'm inclined to do also. But is the Florida lottery, is that kind of dissipated a little bit in terms of interest level? Because you always see the jackpots are in Powerball.
This Powerball
Mega Millions, and you end up chasing. I don't know the last time I bought a Florida lottery ticket, which I have, done my walk of life fantasizing about what it would be like to. And then, as I said, one of the weirdest things about playing a lottery, Powerball, Mega Millions, any of that, A, you have no chance to win, and B, if you do win something, you're getting robbed on terms of the odds and what the payoff actually should be. If you hit one of the minor things. Like if you hit for $1 million, the chances of doing that are like, insane against you. And yet people, think that they got a break when they got totally screwed in every aspect on this particular bet. But I've had fights with the Mustang about what we would do with the money.
I know.
How crazy is that? Right? Where it ended up like, okay, good night. That kind of thing. Like that kind of good night that says, fuck you all over it.
Yeah.
You're an asshole. I can't believe I'm still married to you. That kind of tone is associated with it as you debate whether you were going to give like $1 million to her sister, who she's a little bit at odds with right now. And the first thing that comes back, she's getting nothing. It's like, we didn't win yet.
You didn't win at all.
It'll be a very pleasant problem to have here. And who's going to give a fuck? You have $300 million. Here's sis. Here's $1 million. Don't ever call me. Lose my number.
That'd be my problem. Then I have $150 million to try and figure out how to spend it.
Unbelievable. I mean, unless you're the New York Yankees, you can't figure that out. Now, tonight happens to be a colossal night. I can't believe how loaded this is in terms of things that you could bet on tonight. You have what is tantamount, pretty close to a full slate of games. I don't know if they're all listed here in terms of odds, because they aren't always, they don't post every game sometimes. But 12 games in the NHL tonight. 12 games.
Nice.
So what do you have, 30 teams altogether?
I think
NHL?
so.
What do you want to say, 30?
30.
Does
Yeah.
anybody know the answer to these questions anymore? That used to be
I
routine.
used
Like
to,
that
yeah.
was the first question, like the big E on the eye chart when you were taking some kind of aptitude test to see if you could be in the sports department for like a newspaper. No, they didn't really do that, Louis. Can you imagine if they actually quizzed people on what their knowledge was of sports? Did they do that at ESPN? Like, do you have to get by an interview at ESPN where you have to name off like who was the starter in the second game? Famous question. I was talking about this with the great Tony Bruno yesterday.
32.
Actually,
I see 32.
32 teams.
16 and 16,
Wow. Okay.
I think.
Yeah, that's right. They've been adding teams on, but do we even acknowledge that like the Kraken exist, even though they've been pretty
Yeah,
good?
exactly.
The
With
Seattle fucking Kraken.
Vegas. Yeah.
I know that's a term that's sort of what indigenous. Would that be the right word? To it's indicative of whatever some kind of activity that takes place there in Seattle. What exactly is the significance of the Kraken?
That's the mythical creature, the mythical sea monster.
Oh, okay, yeah,
He's the Kraken. It's like this.
okay, very good, Louis.
Like a Loch Ness monster kind of a thing.
Unbelievable. Yeah. So anyway, they have all of these games going, including the Panthers hosting the Flyers tonight. The Panthers and the Panthers making big moves, Lubie, big moves, which we are equipped to analyze in great detail. Vladimir Tarasenko. Does he not sound like an important foot soldier, consigliere for Vladimir Putin?
Yes, it sounds like the guy that's like the general that
Right?
kicks
That
out.
just like slaughtered a bunch of people.
Yes.
I don't mean to impugn the integrity of this man. He obviously is a very useful player and one of those players that teams trade for at this time of the year, which the Panthers just did.
Yep.
And it seemed like there were modest considerations involved in this deal. Now, the guy is like an established player. The Rangers got him last year to do the very same thing, solidify their lineup for a playoff push, which, let's face it, the Panthers would have to be. Have they been mathematically – they haven't clinched a playoff spot yet. So they're not mathematically in yet. But, wow, I mean, if they missed the playoffs this year, it would have to be something
I think they're
just wildly catastrophic that would happen to this team. Is it possible? I mean, what kind of price would you get if you were betting the Panthers to miss the playoffs this year?
I don't know. They're best team in hockey. I'm not really thinking that.
Miss the playoffs. Everybody makes the playoffs.
I'm more focused on them trying to not be the Boston Bruins.
Yeah.
They're the number one team. And they get
isn't that true that the President's Trophy team, which they were a couple of years ago, never wins the Stanley Cup?
No,
is it never? I mean, it's like a very low percentage, isn't it?
They've won it before, but they don't win it usually. Like it's not an automatic; it's the opposite. It's usually that team comes in with a head of steam and then falls flat.
But that stat would be skewed, wouldn't it? I guess, did they have a President's Cup back when they had the 6-team league?
I don't know if they had the President's Cup when it was easy for the great
when
team.
Montreal was winning like every fucking year.
Yeah.
Even Ranger fans had a little bit of place in their heart for the Montreal Canadiens because you knew we were getting shellacked by them. I don't know. Did Ranger fans hate the Montreal Canadiens? I remember sort of rooting for the Canadiens because the Rangers were never winning, right? I mean, we were stuck with what? The Chief. What was that? Jimmy Nielsen, the Chief. I always loved that guy named the Chief, no matter what. In fact, that's our second Chief reference to two different players named the Chief in the span of a few minutes here on this show.
The Blackhawks, and again, I think they win 3 and 4 years or some dynastic thing.
Yeah.
In 2012, 2013, were the President's Trophy winner and won the Cup. But again, that's why I was just going to say this Panthers team as President Cup champion, if they got there, feels more than just the team that won it that year because they're building a sort of not dynasty, but a consistent winner. And if you're winning consistently, then it's not just some 1 year fluke thing that you're going to get. It's like the Lightning, right? Like the Lightning got to the point where they were winning every fucking year. So when they were great in the regular season, you still believe that they could be great in the playoffs.
Yeah. This, bold moves though were made by this guy, Bill Zito. Bold moves. Right? The Lubie trade, could not have been an easy one. He gets Kachuk in here, who kind of shakes it up a little bit, and he does. He just kind of exudes that toughness and the idea that an added hustle effort, can pay huge dividends. And you're seeing guys doing this. That play by Barkov the other day was amazing. I don't know if you had a chance to see it.
I had to see it. I know you talked about it in our buddy.
It looked like he was diving forward, but he actually kind of got tripped up after he had already released his pass. But it was phenomenal that he had I mean, the ability to control his puck on his stick like he did in the circumstances that were taking place, and then while being tackled somehow, had the ability to get this puck over to the side there where Reinhart knocked it home, and he's assisted on a zillion Reinhart goals this year. Like I would say, it's a very high percentage of Reinhart goals, and Reinhart's having an amazing season. But I believe he is. Here we go, Libby. How do we know all this shit?
I'm leaving it to you.
I believe he is a free agent after this year. Reinhart, who is having an amazing year for the Panthers this year.
He's like second or third in the league in goals.
Pavel Beriesk, yes. And on the power play, he's got like 25 power play goals. I mean, he's been dynamite, just scoring in a variety of fashions. This was a weird thing about that game, though, against the New Jersey Devils the other night. I mean, here are the Panthers coming off this monumental win, a bloodbath against the Rangers, top two teams, Madison Square Garden, and they got to schlep over to fucking New Jersey, right? I mean, having to inhale the mercury-laced fumes that are coming off the Hudson River, and they get over there to New Jersey. Nobody gives a flying one about the Devils, literally. I mean, does anybody ever talk about the New Jersey Devils? They just fired their coach. Now, normally, especially in hockey, right, when something like that happens, you'll see some kind of life, some kind of spark, some kind of response from the team. Mm-hmm. That was the most listless start I've seen. I mean, they're down 2-0 early in this game to the Panthers, who were coming off this monumental effort the previous night. So if anybody figured to be flatter than a Parisian runway model, it was going to be the Panthers in this spot. And you thought, well, maybe this is one of those games after you beat the Rangers that you end up having a little bit of a lapse. It would have been normal, would it not? Yeah. After the Ranger game, what do? You go have a Knish, a couple of martinis, and the next thing you know, you're getting up and you're schlepping across this stupid bridge there. I don't know. Did they stay in New York? Or do they? I believe there's a hotel as part of the structure in the arena where the Devils play. I think.
Yeah, I would think they would go there. I mean, that way you're there.
So I would imagine they would be staying there. All right, so they schlep across town after the win over the Rangers. You would think that there was at least a mile celebration. I mean, these guys are crazy, aren't they? Think about some of the stories that Reno was telling with his exploits with Todd Bertuzzi. There's always a Bertuzzi on every team that's out there doing, hey, let's raise some hell. We just beat the New York Rangers. We're the best team in hockey. Let's have some fun. So, I mean, which team comes out flat? The Devils. Unbelievable. So how could you possibly bet on them? But you have to like it. This guy, and I originally thought that, I mean, this was the guy that they traded Brittany Griner for. Did you think that for a second? Vladimir Tarasenko. Yeah, wasn't he the guy? No, it was Victor Boot.
Yeah.
The merchant of death. As we said, one of the worst trades ever made in basketball history. Unbelievable, right? I mean, how could you possibly do that? The merchant of death for Brittany Griner. No, granted, we were very happy to see Americans who are being like ridiculously persecuted in Navalny-type fashion, stuck in that situation. I don't care what they did, whether the move was stupid or not. I don't know. I mean, and who knows? Did they plant this thing on her? Was that ever asserted?
She said she traveled with it all the time. They knew it. They just decided to target her when they were pissed at America.
Unbelievable. But, that was an ugly trade. This guy sounded like he came out of that deal, Vladimir Tarasenko, but I think he's going to be a useful component. Another shrewd move, I believe, pulled off by Bill Zito,
yes,
who, like I said, I mean, he may be moving up the list there among my favorite Zitos. Nick Zito, of course, being my all-time favorite, the great trainer. And he had a terrific, that voice of Nick Zito, if you ever heard this guy speak, it was real New York. And then also with a little bit of a mafia undertone to it. Nick Zito, which I don't mean to imply anything there. There's a vowel at the end of his name. The great Mike Zito, tremendous musician. And now this Bill Zito, unbelievable job by this guy. So we'll see how this guy, I mean, and does there seem to be, under the French Joe Philbin, is there a little bit, and sparked by the play on the ice of Kachuk, a little bit of a Panther culture emerging? Is that possible?
Well, I was going to say they
Did I just say that? I'm sorry, people.
Yeah, I don't know if they're there, but it feels like where they used to screw around a lot, they're not doing that. Like even these games where, like the other day, they're up 4-2 and then get to 4-3, which is annoying. Yeah. It doesn't. They close the door. Like I feel like we are getting a little ahead of ourselves. But the thing is, we saw them do this all playoffs, and then they've kept it going, and they made tweaks to the roster that only enhanced the roster, which is the kind of thing we've always seen with the Heat that we haven't seen from any of the other franchises in town in the last 2+ decades. It's nice, at least for now, see them doing this where they're being aggressive, but it's to enhance the roster, and then it works.
When are our teams ever smart when they do these things?
Well, the Heat are the one team that
Heat have done it, but they haven't quite. I mean, look, it's going to be hard for them to ever resemble talent like they had with the big three, where you could then go out and get any number of Pat Riley type of role players, and they didn't look like role players. All of a sudden, they look like Joe Dumars coming into a ball game. Or Vinny Johnson, I meant to say. Like a guy comes in, whatever it is, lights a spark right away. And they had a lot of guys that were capable of doing that when they were with the Heat that never did that at any other time in their career, correct? And we saw that from any number of players that came through the Heat system there. But they probably, in all likelihood, will never have a team quite like that, right? LeBron James, Dwayne Wade, and even though he seemed to be somewhat of a compromised and pissed off Chris Bosh, nonetheless, was a viable talent to have out there on the floor as a third option. There's no question. And then other guys rose to the occasion. That was great. I don't know we'll ever see that again. This team doesn't impress me as being in that category, Lubie, or even close. Does
no,
it?
that thing is, though, there's none of the teams are that. Like, look at the Boston. Boston, I guess, was trying to be that by going and getting this guy and that guy. They haven't won anything. Like, they've gone to less finals than the Heat. Like, that's what I'm trying to say about, like, the NBA is not that right now. The super team isn't the move anymore. It's nice team with young talent. Look, like the Nuggets, again, that's all drafted guys. The Thunder's all drafted guys. The Celtics, it's mostly drafted, and then they go and get, like, that's the super team isn't the thing in the NBA. The Heat have found a way to just be relevant and consistent no matter what. And that's the thing the other teams in this city haven't done. Where
the last few assemblies of super teams haven't worked.
Yeah, and that's what I'm saying. Yeah. Like the Suns, I guess, are starting.
But they involved similar characters, it seemed like. It was always involving James Harden and Kyrie Irving. And I don't know that you can plug those guys into an equation and say that you're looking at any real empirical truth, right? Because you have a freak element there.
Yeah.
Where, somehow they managed to, for lack of a better way of saying it, to sort of mess with the chemistry of everything that's going on in your organization, including maybe even running the owner out of town. Right? Everything becomes a disgrace. It's incredible. It's amazing, though, that so far, they're peacefully, intertwined with the two teams that they're playing for now.
Yeah, the Mavs.
James Harden and the Clippers seem to be doing okay. Although, was there some blip on the radar that I missed between Harden and company about the way that he's been playing? Because that was a big thing, like on Get Up. There with Greenberg and company. They were all screaming about something. And then Kyrie Irving with Dallas. In fact, we'll get an example of it tonight. The Heat are being hosted by the Dallas Mavericks tonight, who are a little bit of a mystery team, aren't they? Luka Doncic keeps putting up these numbers, and it's always in games that they lose.
Yeah, I was going to say, didn't they lose, was it 2 days ago, to a team that they should have beaten? Yeah,
it's very strange. Yeah, and this guy, he is spectacular. How does he do it? He doesn't look like any kind of athletic specimen whatsoever, Luka Doncic.
No, he's like the guard.
Never mind Jokic. Jokic looks like Mitch Gaylord compared to this guy in terms of an athletic-looking body. And the moves. But somehow, Doncic manages, he scores in such a variety of fashions. It's incredible. And yet he looks like he's in slow motion, doesn't he?
Yeah. Yes. You watch him and you're like, okay. But he's just a savant with the ball.
How is this white guy doing it? Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
It's not a racial thing either. You're just looking and thinking this guy moves like a slug, and yet he's just blowing by people and making fools of them and leaving them in his wake. So anyway, you get a look at Heat and Dallas tonight. With the Heat now, that was interesting. Scoop Skolnick, do you think that was any kind of regional bias on the part of Scoop Skolnick, who seems to be a very straight shooter? Our good friend, even Scoop Skolnick.
He's biased in the sense that he knows the organization.
Yeah.
So he'll lean their way on certain things. But he's honest. Like, remember, he was tough on them in the first half when I felt they were going to come on. He's the one that was like, we'll see.
Yeah.
They dealt with a lot of stuff. They haven't shown it yet. Like, he holds them to a standard.
I would think he would be extremely unbiased and honest about the Miami Heat, because that's his thing. He has that reporter mentality, right? He's got a little Chris Mortensen in him. I'm not going to go to theatrics just to get a laugh out of people or whatever. Not that we would ever, delve into something like that. just making shit up. No, he's not the type to do that. He's going to give you his honest opinion, and he feels that the Heat will end up battling the Celtics for the Eastern Conference title and probably prevail, and could
He
be in
just
the
says there's
finals
no
again.
team the Heat are scared of, including the Celtics, and there's no team that they don't match up well against, including the Celtics, which are all true. Again, like I said, it doesn't mean that the Heat will win.
Yeah.
The Cavs have talent. The Bucks clearly have talent, so they could beat the Heat. I just wouldn't pick them or assume they'd beat the Heat. Like the Heat
I went on as a guest with the great Tony Bruno yesterday on his show.
Okay.
Just to keep in touch with these guys. And sure enough, I mean, the topic of the Celtics came up, and I'm thinking, I thought like you, Lubie. All of a sudden, I morphed into you, and I asked Tony, when the fuck are they going to fall apart finally? We're all waiting for it. Everybody's waiting for it. Red Auerbach is in heaven somewhere, and he's saying, when the fuck are you guys going to fall apart? It hasn't happened. And they lost a game the other night, right? They blew a 20-point lead against a Cleveland Cav team.
Without Mitchell.
I had to look it up again. Donovan Mitchell. Why can't I remember this guy's name? Do I need Prevagen for this, Lubie? Should I start eating like whale blubber? What the fuck do I have to do?
I don't know.
Jellyfish? There are a lot of those. What are those? Blue Man of Wars? What are those things called?
And a war.
But the ones that they're kind of like just sort of in their own little cocoon there. They don't have tentacles or anything going out
I
there.
mean, there's jellyfish and there's man of war. I don't know the word blues in it.
Those blue ones are the ones that that they can shake up your entire nervous system, right?
I don't like either of them. I stay away. I don't need.
Remember Diana Nyad with that fucking jellyfish on her face? Did you ever see that documentary?
Yes.
Oh, it's insane, man. When she gets stung by that jellyfish, I mean, this is a woman that can endure any amount of pain and torture. I mean, she subjects herself to it willingly. Volunteers to do this shit, right? I mean, who's going to swim from Havana to Key West? For what? For, I mean, some freedom movement? I don't know. Well, what was the big deal about that? That nobody else had done it? Was that the thing? Had people died trying? I don't know. I mean, she tried like 100 times. They kept telling her, don't fucking bother anymore, Diana. You don't need to do this.
Exactly.
You're getting too much sun. But she had that jellyfish on her face. Oh my God. Have you ever, encountered any kind of negativity with the jellyfish sting?
Oh, thank God, I've been very lucky to avoid them.
Yeah.
Okay.
I want to say that I have been stung by jellyfish. And my recollection is it wasn't pleasant, right? You break out and all of that stuff. Like all of a sudden you got all of these red hives on your leg, and you're like, what the fuck? You need the, what is that called? The EpiPen?
Oh, maybe.
Yeah.
Oh, God.
That was a deal. I used to have to carry one for a brief period of time after some insect bit me when I first moved to Florida. And all of a sudden, my head swelled up like a basketball, and I thought I better call somebody.
Oh, shit.
So they juiced me with the EpiPen, right? And then they suggested I carry one at all times. I think it was like $20 back then. It's something like $7,000.
It's got to be, yeah.
It's so insane. All right, we're coming back with more. Tony Segreto is going to join us. Talk about a wise man. This guy's all over the place. Yesterday, he couldn't join us. He's doing like in-depth interviews for a giant project at the University of Miami. Always on the scene here. Working man, I mean, and probably, right? Could be resting on his laurels, no? And Bishop, I saw, just got into some South Florida Broadcasting Hall of Fame. Wasn't Tony already there?
Yes.
If he wasn't, it would be completely unjustified. And, no disrespect to the late, great Ann Bishop. But Tony was smoking her in the ratings for years and years. So he's going to join us in just a sec here on the Defo Show as we return in a moment. Now that.
The time.
It's 8:30.
Tony Segreto here. Let me ask you a question. What do you look for when you go out to eat? Good food, obviously. Friendly atmosphere, not too loud, but good energy, reasonable prices, and a place where you feel comfortable. All those ingredients, no pun meant there, are hard to find unless you're talking about the Texas Roadhouse. You see, they encompass all of those attributes. Really, really good food, amazing atmosphere, good for a family, good for a date, or just a night out for yourself, and prices that will make you extremely happy. Their ribs unmatched, steaks hand-cut every day. Everything, and I mean everything, is made on site, including their incredible bread. It's the one day, folks, that you can forget about low-carb diets. Trust me when I tell you, Texas Roadhouse, your restaurant, your destination when you say, where should we go and eat tonight?
From the newly renovated sports bar to the beautiful bayside views captured at the Tiki Bar, Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill has it all. Located at mile marker 104, the Big Chill also offers waterfront dining while experiencing breathtaking sunset views of the Florida Keys. It's simply the hottest spot in the Keys to cool off. That's Jimmy Johnson's Big Chill at mile marker 104 in Key Largo. For more information, call today at 305-453-9066.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
Tell me, doctor.
All right, welcome back to the show. We had to juxtapose a few things. We're seeing some traction here on the chat line from the usual suspects. Wondering, where's Dave Gurgle's Gurgly and the Trivia Challenge, normally conducted on Thursday? Gurgle's had a conflict, right, Lubie? He couldn't do it anyway. And then Tony had a deal going yesterday where, what is it exactly that you were doing? You were involved with, and you look great, by the way, Tony.
Thank you.
Oh, my God. Doesn't this guy look like he'd go out and run a marathon right now? Unbelievable. Look great. Look like you did run a marathon. What you have going? University of Miami, something, that they were doing on film?
For the last 4 years, we have been documenting the oral history project for the University of Miami, because 2025, the Hurricanes, the school will be 100 years old.
Oh, yeah, wow.
It's a young school, and we've been documenting the leaders over the last 100 years. And yesterday we had an interview, and it was really awesome. It was awesome. It was yesterday we interviewed Rick Remmert.
I remember Rick Remmert, yeah.
Yep, he's one of the younger guys we've interviewed, and he was awesome. He was talking about Frazier, talking about the old.
Was Rick an athletic director there at one time?
He was the assistant athletic director at one time.
Okay, so he was right there. At least I was in the right department.
Yeah,
in terms of remembering this guy.
Well,
I remember him being a very energetic person, as I recall.
He was. He was, and he is. He is. And
was he there with Paul D? Was Paul D the athletic director when Remmert was there?
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
Paul D. He went through SIDs. It was he, Rich Dalrymple. Remember him?
Yeah, of course. Went on to the Cowboys. We met him when he was a young puppy, and he was always very helpful to us. We were doing a project down there. Carl Schmidt, of course, was the SID at the time.
Carl Schmidt, George Gillette, way back. That's when Remmert started. So it was good to reengage and to visit into him, and that's probably we've done now at least 75 to 80 interviews.
Oh yeah, wow.
Last 4 years, yeah. Yeah.
Now, 100 years ago, was Sonny Hirsch on campus that day when they opened up the campus?
It was 99 years ago. He was on campus, not 100.
What happened? I mean, are you getting any word? Well, I'm assuming you were maybe around the campus there yesterday. Well, what happened to our man Jim Larrañaga this year? What the hell did him in? Lubie, I mean, are you in tune with what's going on? They lose to Boston College last night.
Oh, the basketball is a disaster.
Basketball has really just hit the skids, which is uncharacteristic. Anything on that circulating, Tony? What the hell's going on there?
Nothing.
Okay.
Nothing.
All right, because they could rest on their laurels, I'm sure. I mean, at least for a little while.
If I knew, I'd tell you. But there's nothing coming out of there. It was silent.
Yeah. Okay. Silent. Any signings of Larrañaga on campus? Is Jim hanging around? I mean,
he was dancing. He was dancing in the moonlight.
There you go.
Well, I mean, and that shows you. I actually went to an FAU basketball game last Saturday with the lovely and talented Leslie Visser. I really enjoyed it. I tell you, it was a great experience because it was kind of no lahase, man, no hassle all the way around. I drove up there. I was early because I was trying to pick up a Fugazi arranged ticket that I had. Through a friend of mine, and you know how it is when you're getting a ticket for somebody else, but you're not sure if it's really going to be there.
Yeah,
and then it's supposed to be two, but it's only one. So now, if there is another person involved, you're going to have to find another way to get them into the building. Yeah, and then who knows where the hell they're going to sit because this place it's a small. I mean, like high school gyms hold more people than this
That's
arena.
crazy that they have 3,000. I don't even know what to do with that. It's like a practice gym.
It doesn't even look like 3,000. It literally looks like. I remember I used to cover JUCO basketball out in Southern California because there was a local team in our area where I was writing for this newspaper.
North like that.
Yeah, I mean, there was that kind of size program and facility where you're thinking, wow, this really does look like some low level JUCO in California. But I mean, they've spiffed it up. It's nice, good atmosphere. Real. I mean, you would have loved this. This was wholesome city, Tony Segreto. The kids were all, very, nicely mannered and well mannered, and everybody was sort of organized and having a good time. Inside, I mean, you weren't thinking that there was going to be some brutal fight breaking out in the stands. It was really just good, clean cut, all American fun. Is the way it turned out.
And you just went to the game with Leslie.
Leslie and I went to the game. Now you don't just go to a game with Leslie Visser, though. Leslie Visser, I mean, as popular as you are, she stops and talks to everybody.
Were you in? Oh, that's what I meant. Did you go to the press area, or you were like in seats? Because
we actually ended up like they have sort of a quasi club level that they install there, and so I guess it's premium stuff that they have, like suites above the court and behind one of the baskets. Very nice view.
Like I could see her. If you're,
she was schmoozing like no tomorrow. I've never seen anybody meet so many people.
I could see her just being there, and people would not want it. But like if she's with other media members, as we've seen, she doesn't stop.
This was insane. Yeah,
like that's just how it is.
I can't remember the 100 people she introduced me to as she was working the room. It was amazing. But and then you would have loved this, Tony, because Leslie really is into this like you are, where. Lubie and I would be inclined to blow off the press conference. Certainly, if we were just attending a game, there's no way I'm going down to listen to the coach.
No way.
I mean, I'm not interested anymore. Although it is interesting when you do it, and this was an eye opener for me because I don't know if you've delved into speaking at or ever teaching like young people that are in the media at a school or whatever, but I'm sure you've been in front of classes in your lifetime. An impressive young media corps covering this game.
Oh yeah.
Like I mean, these were kids that weren't even 20 yet, and this was a well organized press conference with Dusty May, and these kids asked a series of good questions. They really did.
They're going to take our jobs sooner than later.
Oh yeah.
Well, I mean, that's that's coming, but it's interesting to me because things aren't like they were when we were beginning. And doing this stuff, and yet you see people going through the same mechanics, and it's kind of interesting because they're in a whole new world about how to transmit this stuff.
Have you? This is the first time you've seen that? Because I see it almost all the time.
Oh yeah, I'm not a press conference guy. I find them mostly useless.
I go down to the university, and they're just bright. They're questioning. They're smart.
Yeah.
They're good looking.
Well, they're not intimidated because I remember when I first started, you always had the Ira Windermans, and you always had these people overhanging, making you sort of feel like be in your place. And now because there's the old school media doesn't exist, these kids don't give a shit. Like they feel like they've earned it, and they have a confidence that it took me a while to get to that level. Like they're not intimidated by the situation. I think that's what Defo notices. Usually you see the young kids, but they're holding the microphone and they're holding the thing. No, they're the ones in the front asking the fucking questions.
They were good.
They don't think twice about it. Like that's sort of what it is there because they since they were 16, they feel comfortable in front of the other people in that ilk.
The telling the kid today that you got to start from the bottom up.
Oh no,
because knowing every part of the business doesn't exist. They just know their part, and that's all they need to know.
Yep. I was impressed, though. I mean, the way the questioning moved, Dusty May is a fairly straightforward guy in these circumstances. It's not like he's going to blow you away with some controversial statement or something that you say, really? I mean, I can't believe he just said he's going to Ohio State next year.
Yeah.
That's not happening. But so he's kind of, I mean, you're getting what seemed to be
he's a good guy.
Cliched answers, but the way these guys moved the questions around the room and the SID, I was like an assistant, I mean, she really had this thing well organized. It was well run. It was very impressive. I'm glad I stopped by because it kind of was heartening to see that this is the direction it's going in. Because it seems like, I mean, when you look at the top levels of what's being presented in terms of sportscasting today, I mean, it's a radical departure from anything. Chris Mortensen would have trouble getting a job at ESPN today with his style, right? I mean, the great Chris Mortensen, who really was a signature of credibility for ESPN when a lot of times their credibility came wildly into question. You always felt like Mortensen was going to give you the honest count.
Yes.
And wasn't going to make something up. And he wasn't inclined to theatrics or, hyperbole or any of this stuff. I mean, it totally outside of what you would normally expect now from ESPN.
Yeah.
And yeah, I mean, he was the last of like an old school guy in the business. Not the last, but among the last.
We ought to go to FAU or go to the University of Miami and ask them once in a while, give us a student, give us a student, and he can be or she can be our guest.
These kids were impressive, man. I mean,
they're great.
Yeah, we could be their guest. I think would be more appropriate. I mean, they're running the show now. Yeah, it was good. But no, that was fun. I would say this. I mean, the thing that the lasting impression I have is I'm walking around this place. I've been there before. I want to say that in the infant stages of Sunshine Network, I might have called a basketball game or two at FAU, and I sort of remember the configuration. But I'm thinking, how the fuck did a Final Four team come from this? A bunch of Trump supporters in the skybox there, I mean, proudly wearing their MAGA hats.
Oh, really?
Really?
A lot of guys, I mean, dentists and doctors and plastic surgeons, whatever. I mean, no, it wasn't really that type of crowd, but it was amazing, stunning to me that with the wherewithal that some of these other programs have, that this was a school that was in the Final Four. It's incredible.
Yeah.
And the likelihood of it happening again, you would have to say, is probably more along the lines of 0.0, isn't it, Tony? I mean, how could this be?
They caught lightning in a bottle. They just were in the right place at the right time with the right group of people, with the right group of kids.
Yeah.
And that may never happen again.
It was incredible. And then, what you have to love about it, and I hope I don't have this wrong. Lubie says I'm right on this one, where they would have played Purdue in the second round of the tournament, except Fairleigh Dickinson beat Purdue in the first round, right? And they ended up playing Fairleigh Dickinson. Was that the way it went?
Something like that. Yeah. Remember, they kept getting the quote unquote easier path.
Yeah.
It happened a lot.
They did. They had to play Purdue. They had to play was it
they played a bunch of high seeds. Their whole route was like double digits.
There was like always an upset, a massive upset in the previous game.
Yes.
So they were mowing people down, and they had what we saw in terms to be a late game resiliency, because even when it looked like they were in the typical fate of the underdog, boom, all of a sudden they would come back and have a strong couple of minutes and put the game away. They're not as good this year, I don't think. I mean, as they were last year. I didn't see that same kind of spark in this team.
Who's going to be the Cinderella story this year?
Oh, good.
Well, it's not going to be Lipscomb, Tony. I mean, they got knocked out in the A-Sun tournament. Big Daddy. And then now I have to pull for another team from Nashville, of all things, Belmont. They're in the Missouri Valley Conference tournament tonight against Valparaiso, laying 11 and a hook. I'm going to go ahead and lay the points.
Oh, God.
Belmont.
Are you betting on everything that moves now?
No, you know what is amazing, though, Tony? I mean, just this day in particular, I've never seen anything quite like this, but I held this up before on our No Filter show. I don't know if you can make that out. Those are just games that you could bet on tonight.
Tonight?
In the New York Post. They're like, there's 100 college basketball games, almost a full slate in the NHL, like darn close to it. More than a handful of NBA games and Major League Baseball preseason games. Imagine you were doing this all day, Tony. I mean, can you imagine just betting your brains out all day? There are probably some really good plays here in the college basketball, but I don't know enough about it to speak with any level of expertise.
The only person I know who could bet baseball, may he rest in peace, is Sonny Hirsch.
Spring training baseball.
Oh, baseball.
Yeah. Spring training baseball. Because
spring training baseball. How can you bet that? That's ridiculous, isn't it?
Swear to God, I don't know how he did it. And
Well, I
then
mean, it could be something that came with some knowledge if you bet it sort of in advance, like when the line first came out. Because Sonny wasn't he always involved behind the scenes with like minor league baseball when he was
yeah,
at what it became Bobby Maduro
Marlins,
Stadium. It was like
Marlins,
Miami Stadium at one time,
yeah.
right? Remember going there and covering like the Orioles in spring
Oh yeah,
training? You
oh
couldn't
yeah.
believe that the pro baseball team was playing in this piece of shit facility that had like broken glass in the parking lot. And then there was Sonny had an office in there, and his feet were always up on the desk.
Yeah.
And but he might have had some knowledge that like, okay, Chicago's sending like a B squad that is made up of such scrubs that some of them have like triple digits on their uniform, and they're coming into play. And you happen to know the Cardinals were playing their starters for 5 innings. I mean, would that be beneficial, Tony? What do you think?
I don't know. I don't know. He used to have a
Was Sonny in
book.
on that? I mean, I don't know. I'm assuming Sonny was not making money on his wagering activities,
He used
just
to have a
based
book.
on his
He used,
mood.
he used to have a book, and in the book would be all the bets of all the games, and he would just turn the page every day,
Yeah.
every
He had money on every game, though, as I
every
recall. Yeah.
every game. He had
Because
money.
I sat with him when the score phone first came out, and we were doing baseball games, and there were obviously a lot of times lapsing in there when Kenny Henderson especially was on the mound, and it took him 8 hours to complete the first inning. This kid out of where was he from? Tennessee or something? I mean, some hillbilly town, and he was drafted number 5 overall by the Milwaukee Brewers. And he decided to sign with and he was horrendous, Tony. Did you ever have to call any Kenny Henderson pitched games?
I did, and it was
it's torture, right? Yeah.
torture.
There's ball 4. I tell you what, he's put the first 3 runners on, Sonny, and what the fuck? Are we gonna have to go through this again? It's 1,000 degrees out here.
Hey, when did they choose March Madness? Saturday? This Saturday?
Sunday is Selection Sunday, I believe. Oh, no, not this Sunday. A week from Sunday, March 17th.
So the conference tournaments are next week.
Yeah.
So next week
March 17th, I believe it is.
So
Are you excited about this, Tony? I mean,
Yeah, I'm excited.
it could be wide open. I'm counting on my guy, Dalton Connect now. Tennessee goes all the way. Tennessee, Dalton Connect, as in connect with every basket. This guy's been great. So and they're pulling off victory after victory, and he looks like a surefire superstar. All right, we're gonna come back. Well, what with Ed Garcia? What's going on?
Supposed to be joining us. Maybe he's having trouble. I don't know.
Possibility. Okay. All right. We'll take a short time out here. Texas Roadhouse, of course, proud sponsors of Old School with Tony Segreto here on this Thursday. Sorry to disappoint the Trivia Challenge people that were out there ready to play. They were ready to fire. That is a loyal bunch. I mean, they're usually Thursday we played a Trivia Challenge with Dave Gurgles Gurgley, but he was not going to be able to make it today anyway. So it worked out perfectly, and you're looking good, Tony. So this has worked out well. And then, of course, tomorrow.
I may see you later at Batch.
What's that?
I may see you later at Batch.
We're at Wicked Cheesesteaks today. That's where you want to go. Wicked Cheesesteaks. Come there, yeah. If you're at Batch, you're probably having to pick up your own check. So, you might want to avoid that under the new Mayo schnorring system. Where he's incredible. Did you see him again last night with his pictures of some free food that he copped at Heritage?
He didn't get anything free last night. I guess Reno lied and said he was going to be there, and he wasn't there. So the other guys don't comp him.
This is his move. You don't do this, Tony, do you? I mean, you're going to Runway 84. Do you text Anthony Bruno before you're coming in there? Oh, by the way, I'm going to be in tonight. No, you show up. You hope you see the guy, right? But Mayo does this so that Bruno will go, oh, geez, we got to take care of this prick.
I have to tell you a story.
So he gets a royal treatment, and then he acts like, oh, well, they just threw all this stuff at me, right? I mean, never mind his following of 148,000 dining people.
We were me, Kim Bocamper, and Jim Kick were having sushi at this place that no longer exists.
All right.
It was run by a husband and wife. He was an Iron Chef in Japan.
Oh, wow.
So he was top notch, and he was expensive, but he was really, really good. The 3 of us had dinner at the bar, at the sushi bar, and the bill came to, I don't know, $400.
Oh, geez. Okay.
Oh, geez. What were you eating, man?
Jim Kick got up and he said, "Good night, fellas."
That's it? Just walked away?
Just left.
We chased him out into the parking lot.
Oh, yeah. Wow.
That's
Come
150.
back here, you son of a bee. You
Yeah,
better pay up.
About a quick $1.50 here for
Yeah,
each share.
130
Yeah,
a head at
exactly.
least. I mean, yeah, with tip, it's 150 each.
Easily.
Kidding me? Maybe
Yeah.
more, honestly, if you want to tip, right?
Yeah,
Yeah.
160.
He just left.
Kick was he known to do that, Jim Kick? Because he was sort of.
No, he
I
wasn't
mean,
going to do that. I don't know
no.
what he was thinking, but man, oh man, it was startling. He just got up and left, and Kim and I looked
Imagine
at
it.
each
I mean,
other.
that was one team's backfield: Mercury Morris, Jim Kick, and the Zonk. No wonder they won every fucking game, and Greasy
Yeah.
didn't have to do anything. Wow, what a free pass to the Hall of Fame, Bob
Yeah.
Greasy. All right, we're coming back with more with Tony Segreto here. No, you can't agree with that, Tony. Get out of here. You're a big Greasy guy. He actually smiles when he sees you, Bob Greasy.
Yeah.
Not necessarily inclined. I mean, not the most effervescent of personalities, you would have to say. Coming back with more with Tony Segreto, Old School, in a moment. Now that. I didn't mean to shake up. Okay, it's 8:51. In style at Champions, the outstanding simulcasting room at beautiful Hialeah Park. Yes, the grand old lady of thoroughbred racing has never been more vibrant, and you can wager on the races from the top tracks around the country while enjoying a cocktail at the Brass Rail Bar or any of the fine food served throughout the facility. If poker is your game, you're covered in style, and you can play all your favorite Vegas-style games, including blackjack, craps, and roulette, in Hialeah Park's sizzling hot casino. Get a player's card when you walk through the door for all kinds of generous amenities, including our favorite, free play, when you come out to the ultimate casino and entertainment destination, Hialeah Park.
These days, we're all looking for comfort anywhere we can find it. Thank goodness for Landlubbers Raw Bar and Grill in Plantation, because they are making sure you are as comfortable as possible. First of all, they're not only open for delivery and pickup. All you have to do is go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both pickup and free delivery. You're going to have the best wings in the world. You're going to have a great burger. You're going to have their amazing soups. Again, Landlubbers, Raw Bar, and Grill. It's nice and easy. Just go to landlubbersbarandgrill.com for both your pickup and free delivery. Thank goodness for Landlubbers for making you always feel right at home.
Are you looking to buy your first home? Have you been turned down for a loan? Do you need to refinance or get money out of your home? Call Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. He's been helping the South Florida community get mortgages for 30 years.
Hi, this is Michael Kodsey, CEO of Choice Mortgage. We have the most competitive fixed rates in the market. Call me 24/7, 561-441-2730. And remember, I don't just work banking hours. To make the right choice for your home, call Choice Mortgage today.
What we gonna do right here is go back, way back into time.
We are now kicking it old school with the one and only Tony Segreto. Brought to you by Texas Roadhouse.
All right, welcome back to the show. Old School with Tony Segreto here on the Defo Show with Mike Lubie Lubitz, and we welcome to the program, having some computer issues, but joins us via telephone.
Yeah.
The great and proud sponsors of Old School, Texas Roadhouse Restaurants, one of the main catalysts of their success, joins us right now here. Ed Garcia does a fantastic job. Ed, how are you, my friend?
Good morning. I'm doing great. How are you guys?
Good morning, Ed.
Oh, well, we miss your smiling face and the Michigan background. That's always a feature of your appearances here on the show, but good to have you with us.
Absolutely. I actually I had Texas Roadhouse as a background because I'm standing outside of Coconut Creek, Texas Roadhouse this morning. But yesterday I was, right by Mr. Reed. I was actually in Kansas City and enjoying that the last couple of days, seeing all the Kansas City colors, hanging out in that Kansas City, Missouri area, which was a lot of fun.
Yeah. Hey, Ed, are we still on for next Friday?
Oh, that's
Absolutely.
right.
Can't wait to have you guys in. So lots of steaks, ice cold beer, and some legendary margaritas. It's going to be a great time. So,
Yes.
and then of course, fresh baked bread, plenty of sweet potatoes loaded with the honey cinnamon caramel sauce and some toasted marshmallows. We got it all lined up for you.
It's going to be beautiful.
Yeah. Yeah. Ed, what are you doing at your restaurants now?
You're there this morning. How early you get to these restaurants?
Well, normally, this is what's funny is that no one is here typically this early because, we typically are just dinner only. Friday and Saturday, Sundays, you can check out. Make sure you look at your local Texas Roadhouse because we do open for lunch on the weekend. But the Broward County has changed a few of the regulations, and we also just wanted to be a great partner for our guests. So we added AED, basically defibrillators, to some of our locations. So we are here this morning taking some classes, and just making sure that not only do we keep, our food safe, but, our guests safe in case there's any issues arise. So that's one of the reasons why we're up and at it early today.
Wait.
For us, that's early.
Okay. So I have to add, okay, that's a lot. So my server now is going to shock me. Like, what are you saying? Like,
they have the two pedals like MacGyver.
Time for the ambulance to come. It's like, Johnny, come here. Like, is this a thing that happens?
Right.
Like,
I want to talk to a manager.
After your 7th margarita, this
Yeah.
Why are you using defibrillators? Like,
It is Florida. I understand that. I mean, a guy could check out at any time. But
what does that mean?
wow,
Jeez.
the things you have to go through, Ed Garcia.
Oh my God.
Hey, what happened with your Michigan Wolverine basketball team this year?
Oh, yeah.
I was curious. I was watching a little Juwan Howard, and I saw the team was like sub 500. What's going on there? Aren't they usually good?
They are usually good. They've been on a the last few years, they look so fantastic during March Madness and things like that. Juwan just completed, and again, this is not an excuse, but he had that extensive heart surgery and some other issues that he had earlier in the season. So he missed quite a few games, but I feel like the synergy is just not there, that normally they create. And again, I'm not there courtside. I'm lacking about 1.5 feet. And probably 20 years of agility. But, I think that's just one of the big things that I see. So I'll tell you, it's been a lot of communication about the coaching, the results, and the players, hey, what's going on there and things like that. So we'll see how the season wraps up. But, March Madness is right around the corner, so I'm pretty excited for that.
Hey, Tony's ready for it.
Are you looking to see J.J. McCarthy, how high he goes in the draft?
Yeah, it's amazing. We actually, being in Kansas City the last few days, there's quite a few of us talking about, where all the quarterbacks are going to end up. And, I know he just had an interview. Where was he at? The Raiders? And I know he did fantastic at the Combine. And even Blake Corum I was very impressed with his 40-yard dash. But I think overall, I don't know if he's going to end up being in the first round. That would be really cool. And I'll tell you, I think he's a hidden gem. I know in Michigan, he started off the year and he was throwing darts all season long. And then, right when we got to Penn State, then all of a sudden it transferred into a more of a running game. But he did what's great for the team. So I think that with the right development and training, I'll tell you that's going to be a secret weapon for someone. And so we'll see. Where do you think he's going to end up?
I agree, and I think he's going to go in the first round.
No, he's going first round. I think they're going to look. And the funny thing is, he was a big talent coming out of high school. And again, you just said it, Ed. He actually started the year strong. And then out of nowhere, I feel like they didn't trust him. Now, maybe that's the game plan they needed to win, and they won a title. So obviously, you're not going to question it. It's just, to me, if you have a quarterback that's a top 15 pick, which right now he's flying up the draft board, why are you running it 70 times a game in 2023? that was my, in this day and age when teams don't run it at all, they were literally, remember that whole, you just said at Penn State, and again, it worked. So why taking it?
Ran.
Dude, you have freaking Caleb Williams, you're not running it 40 times. So that's what, to me, it was like, not that he's not good, because Defo's going to make fun, because I'm weird about J.J. McCarthy. It's, if he's so good, why did Michigan not trust him more? That's my problem, is we're Florida State. Jordan, we had a good running game. Jordan Travis would be and games, and Norvell was like, I don't give a crap. You're throwing at Jordan Travis. He trusted Travis, but where even I would be frustrated about it. Michigan was the opposite. They have this quarterback that NFL teams are drooling to draft, but they were running it 50, 60. It was like the 1970s. It was like Schembechler took over. So it was I'm like, okay, they had him and they didn't trust him. Why should I trust? That's my issue with him, is I think he could be a good NFL quarterback. I'm just curious at taking him in the top 15. We've seen that the last 4 or 5 years. There's a bunch of teams that overdraft guys and they live to regret it. So I'm just curious. It feels like you're sort of like that too. You're not espousing negatives on him. You're just curious what he's going to be, because we sort of didn't see it the second half of the season with Michigan.
Yeah, I vote. I think he'll go number 12. That's where I'm going to put my wager on. So if we want to do a little side bet, but I'm going to say 12. Not sure where that's going to end up, but I wouldn't say it wasn't trust. I think that it was. I mean, it was almost like a psychological move, just because we're all talking about it. All the opposing teams were just waiting for him to drop back and throw the ball, and all of a sudden, they're running the ball, and it worked.
It worked.
So the teams were, a little bit confused because they were waiting for that pass, and boom, there were, breakaways from, Corum, Donovan Edwards, and so forth. I mean, it got him the national title, so the recipe worked. So I don't know if it was a trust issue. That's just my 2 cents. I think it was just, hey, just keep going with what's working.
Exactly.
My mock draft, I'm putting it together right now. So far, I'm at number 1. I have Caleb Williams going somewhere at number 1, not necessarily the Bears.
And then Drake May.
We're looking forward to a week from Friday.
Next Friday, we're going to do a special.
I'm going to cut up some extra salmon steaks there if Tony's going to be on the scene, because he likes to roll in that direction. And then what's great, and make sure the bourbon is flowing freely that day. Wow.
Let's go.
It's going to be a lot of fun. We look forward to it.
See you next Friday, my friend.
Thanks so much, Ed, for joining us. Sorry we couldn't connect on the video, but always great having you on the show.
Take care, guys. Have a great one.
All right, thanks a lot. Ed Garcia, ladies and gentlemen. Good guy, truly a good guy, a big college fan.
Guy. He's a great guy, and he's a great community leader, and he's
all over the place, man. He hustles.
I think he's waiting on the bid on a restaurant in Davie.
Very nice. Wow, that'll be your nightly stop then.
Yeah, that area, because Broward, it's tough. If
you probably have like a plaque on one of the tables, the Tony Segreto table. That'd be awesome, man.
Segreto sat here.
That's Segreto.
You keep it going, kid. We're going to see you. You're going to come out to Wicked Cheesesteaks.
We'll definitely see him tomorrow. I mean,
Wicked Cheesesteaks. Or you're going to be at the track tomorrow. When do we see you?
Gulfstream.
Today, tomorrow. You're gonna say, God damn, Segreto, let's get out of here. So
all right, no, we never get tired of Tony Segreto. I mean, it's always a pleasure.
I'll see you this afternoon. I'll see you tomorrow.
Okay, sounds very good. Very good. All right, Tony Segreto, ladies and gentlemen. Old school with Tony Segreto. You think he makes it out to Wicked Cheesesteaks? We need another mouth on that thing if we're going to do that challenge that Mayo was talking about with the 5-pound cheesesteak.
We'll see.
Is that happening? I don't know.
Oh no, I'm hoping to do the thing. It's not like Wicked's the biggest place, so I try to tone down how many people.
Oh yeah, it's going to be tough to fit extra guys in. You're right.
People to shows that we don't have room for them, and I'm not going to be rude to Tony.
I was assuming Tony wasn't actually.
I yelled at rude to Tony when I'm the guy that has to bring everyone down from the class. To remember, we have to do a show, but.
That's right.
If he's there, we'll find room for him. It's just, it's like that other room is fucking tiny, and
that's true.
There, and it's like, okay.
Yeah, you don't want to take over the whole joint. You're right. Tell Tony we'll see him tomorrow. Yeah, tell him it's true. There really is not room.
No, because they're getting busy again, and it's really meant for a takeout place. But they do have enough seats for people to eat there, and people want to eat there, which is cool.
I would prefer eating there than even
we take up the whole fucking room. It's like they're trying to eat there, and
they're eating off of the the machines there. Yeah, the game machines that they have. All right. We will see you guys tomorrow with a Degenerate Friday. The professor will be joining us, I'm sure, with another big board. That's always a highlight of the day.
Yes.
Catch us on Caffeine TV, nofilter.net with the morning briefing. Did make a brief appearance yesterday on the Tony Bruno Sports Network.
Nice.
So they're still going and looking at maybe doing something down the road.
For them.
And what else? That's it. And Mike Mayo's Lunchbox, 1 o'clock today.
Wicked
Cheesesteaks.
Early talk to Brian about doing that thing.
You have to uninvite Segreto, Lubie. That's your mission.
I'm not doing it. He can come and we'll find room for him. It's just it's just
right.
tough. But if they're gonna do this thing, and it's supposed to be for one human to eat it, I would love to see 3 grown adults try to eat it, which we won't be able to, obviously.
I would like to see Mayo try it on his own first, and then if he needed help, if he didn't slobber all over it somehow.
5 pounds. Can't even
5-pound cheesesteak. Wow. Can't even imagine it. I didn't want the guy to waste one, but Brian, I couldn't imagine how big of a thing that is.
That's the thing. Well, he's the one that wants to do this, right? So we might as well do it. Put it on.
What's a normal one? Like 1 pound?
That's what I was gonna say. Is like
they're big.
Pound of meat. Like I don't think it is. Is it? We'll have to ask Brian.
Who could do that? I mean, at one sitting besides Chestnut. I mean,
That's what I don't get is Chestnut's probably the only person. He's like trained for it. That's a lot of meat. There's cheese. There's a lot of bread.
Oh my God! And you know, you want onions and mushrooms and all that, don't you?
Mushrooms and onions. It's all heavy stuff.
Mustang doesn't like onions, so I mean, we order stuff with no onions on it. It always gets fucked up too. I mean, they can't believe it. No one can conceive that somebody doesn't like onions.
Well, especially grilled onions.
Well, and grilled onions on a cheesesteak. I mean, let's face it, it has to be
automatic. Yeah.
Come on. Yeah. All right, we'll be at Wicked Cheesesteaks later on. That's Federal Highway, just south of Commercial, on the east side of the street.
Yes.
I would only say it's a little hard to find because it kind of comes up suddenly, and you see the sign there.
Yes.
So you have to sort of know where you're going.
It's right across the Holy Cross. Like it's actually
pretty much directly across there. Yeah.
Just south of Commercial on the east side of US 1, you'll see it. He's good about having signs for pizza because they have great pizza deals.
Well, we spent 5 days in a hospital touting the place to various people, and I think some of the people actually came over and tried it. So that's good.
Yeah, they're going regularly now.
Well, I mean, it's right across the street. You have what? I mean, an hour for lunch. They're pretty regimented on this stuff
it's
there.
Quick, too.
The shift change comes, and everybody's on, everybody's out, and that's it. They got 15 minutes for this, 12 minutes for that.
Yep.
It's sort of insane. So if you have a place right across the street there from Holy Cross, and especially if you're a patient there and you got a phone.
Yeah.
We could send something right away.
Please, God.
Right? They think I have a heart condition. They're not feeding me anything with any taste. Get the fuck out of here with that salmon. The seafood in the hospital, I find suspect. Yeah,
because
I can't imagine it's Cafe Seville quality.
Some of it's okay, like you can buy it, especially they have fruit cups and Jello.
Yeah.
But and if they do a meatloaf, it is what it is.
No, the meatloaf was horrendous. It was one of the worst I've ever
steak.
had.
I mean, it is like you're not expecting high quality, but for them trying to do a salmon.
Salmon, and a snapper franchise.
Oh no!
Get the fuck out of here. Who's the chef?
No. It's definitely
not. Should do a review of hospital food here.
Andy does. Andy's our correspondent.
He does have a timeshare there. That's amazing. All right, we'll see you guys later on. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. Wicked Cheesesteaks. If you want to come out and buy a cheesesteak, that would be great, man.
Yeah, it's great.
He runs a great shop there. He really does. And it's sort of misleading to call it Wicked Cheesesteaks because as wicked as the cheesesteaks are, and he has a lot of variety there. And all really, I mean, just
you get burgers too. Like literally any kind of food they do.
Yeah, pizza's underrated
really
in this
quality.
place. Really nice. Got a pizza oven, so it's not like some bar, where the pizza comes out some frozen piece of shit. No, this is really good stuff. And then the lobster roll is sensational. Probably the best deal on a lobster roll you'll find anywhere.
Yep.
And desserts, wild desserts this guy has.
Wife's a baker. Yep. And
chicken wings. He does a great job with chicken wings, quesadillas, all kinds of crazy stuff. So, always experimenting and always with something that's very, very favorable. So check us out there. That is just south of Commercial on Federal Highway. We'll be there from 1 o'clock till 2 with the show.
Yes.
With Mike Mayo, trying to see if he can accomplish something and delve into areas of heavy eating where others would dare not go. The 5-pound challenge. I think he's going to take it on himself. All right, we'll see you then. Thanks for tuning in, everybody. See you next time as we leave it on that.
The time.
It's 9:09.
Let's go to eat a damn snack.
Look what they done to my soul.